The mornings in Cedarwood were slow and quiet, the kind of silence only broken by the sound of birdsong and the distant chatter of old folk sitting by their porches. Down the gravel road, near a crooked wooden fence, a young woman named Emma Blake walked with a basket in her hands. Inside were a few groceries, milk, bread, and a jar of homemade soup. The sun hadn't even risen fully, but Emma was already halfway to Mr. Harold Benson's house, a lonely cottage at the edge of the town where ivy climbed the windows and the roof leaned tiredly under the weight of years. Harold Benson was old. Not just in age, but in soul. The man had outlived his wife, his friends, and even the memory of what laughter sounded like. Most of the town had forgotten he even existed. But Emma hadn't. She had first met him a year ago, when she saw him struggling to lift a bag of feed from his truck. She had stopped, helped him, and since that day, she came by every morning. She didn't expect anything in return, no money, no praise, no acknowledgement. Just a soft smile from the old man was enough for her. That morning, she knocked softly on his door. "Mr. Benson?" "It's me, Emma." A rustle inside. Then the creak of the door. The old man appeared, his face like wrinkled paper, his hands trembling as he leaned on his cane. "Emma, dear. You came early again," he said with a small grin. "Someone has to make sure you eat breakfast," she teased lightly, stepping inside. "The doctor said you can't skip meals." The little kitchen was simple, almost ancient. Everything smelled faintly of pine and dust. Emma set the table, warmed the soup, and helped him sit. The old man watched her quietly. Sometimes, he thought she reminded him of his late wife, gentle eyes, calm voice, the same way she hummed while she worked. "You're too kind," he murmured as she poured him tea. "Most folks in town, they don't bother with me anymore." Emma smiled faintly. "That's their loss, not yours. You've got me." He chuckled weakly. "You sound like my Margaret. Always believed the world still had good in it." Every day was the same rhythm. She cooked, cleaned, read him the newspaper, sometimes played the old piano in the living room. In those hours, the cottage came alive again. The old man would close his eyes, listening, his heart remembering a life that used to be. But what no one knew was why Emma kept coming. Behind that warm smile was a story she never told anyone. Her mother had passed away a few years ago, leaving Emma alone and struggling to pay bills. Her father had left when she was little. She had grown up watching her mother work 2 jobs and still find time to care for neighbors, stray cats, and anyone in need. Her mother had always told her, when you help someone who can't repay you, that's when you're closest to heaven. Maybe that's why Emma kept coming, to feel close to her mother again. Weeks turned into months. Mr. Benson grew weaker. Some days, his mind wandered. He'd call her Margaret by mistake, and Emma would just smile and play along, holding his hand, letting him believe for a few moments that the love of his life had come back. On one such day, the sky was gray with rain, and thunder rolled softly in the distance. Emma was folding laundry in the living room when she found an old photo frame tucked beneath a pile of books. It was a picture of a young man, sharp suit, confident smile, standing next to Mr. Benson. On the back, the name was written, Ethan Benson, Harvard Law, class of 2010. She'd never heard him mention the name before. "Mr. Benson," she asked gently, "who's Ethan?" The old man froze. His spoon stopped halfway to his mouth. His voice trembled when he spoke. "My grandson," he whispered. "He hasn't visited in years, not since his parents died. He was angry. Said I didn't do enough for his father." Emma frowned. "That's not fair. You've done everything for this family." He sighed deeply. "Maybe. But money and pride can harden even good hearts. I haven't seen him in over a decade." That night, Emma stayed longer than usual. She could feel something heavy in the air, a sense of time running out. She found herself looking at the photograph again before leaving. A thought crossed her mind: if only Ethan knew the kind of man his grandfather had become, gentle, broken, waiting. The next few days passed quietly until one afternoon, as Emma arrived with groceries, she found something unusual. A black SUV was parked in front of the gate. Two men in suits were talking near the porch, holding files. Her heart skipped. When she stepped closer, a man turned around. Tall, well-dressed, cold eyes, he looked exactly like the man in the photograph. "Can I help you?" Emma asked, setting down her basket. "I'm looking for Harold Benson," the man said curtly. "I'm his grandson." "Ethan." Emma blinked in surprise. "You're Ethan? He talks about you sometimes." "Does he?" His tone was distant, almost skeptical. "Funny, he never wrote me a letter, not one in 10 years. Inside, Mr. Benson heard the commotion and called weakly from his chair. "Ethan? Is that really you?" The young man entered, his shoes clicking against the wooden floor. He looked around at the old furniture, the faded photos, the smell of tea and old wood. Then his eyes landed on his grandfather, frail, trembling, smiling as if he'd seen a ghost. "I didn't think you'd ever come," Mr. Benson said, tears filling his eyes. Ethan didn't respond right away. He stood stiffly, like someone reading a stranger's obituary. Finally, he said, "I came because your lawyer contacted me. Said you're not in good health and there's some estate matter I should know about." Emma could feel the tension, like a storm waiting to break. "Estate matter," she repeated quietly. "He doesn't care about that, he just wanted to see you." Ethan turned to her, his gaze sharp. "And you are?" "Emma," she said. "I help Mr. Benson. I come by every day." His lips curved in a faint, cynical smile. "I see. A caretaker." Mr. Benson coughed, trying to speak. "She's not just a caretaker, Ethan. She's been my only friend. She's family." But Ethan's expression didn't soften. He simply nodded to the lawyers behind him and began reviewing documents. Emma stepped back, her chest tight. She didn't like where this was going. That evening, the air inside the house was heavy with unspoken things. Emma tried to serve dinner, but Ethan barely touched it. He spoke quietly with the lawyers while Mr. Benson sat in silence, his hands trembling. Then, out of nowhere, Ethan said, "I need to see the will." The old man's face went pale. "The will?" "Yes. I was told you made changes recently. I'd like to know what they are." Emma froze. "Changes?" Mr. Benson swallowed hard. "It's true. I made changes, after Margaret died. I realized something. Family isn't just blood, Ethan. It's who stands by you when you have nothing left." The young man's jaw tightened. "Meaning?" "Meaning," the old man said softly, "I left something for Emma. She's been like a daughter to me." The silence that followed could have shattered glass. Ethan stood slowly, eyes burning. "You're telling me, you're giving my inheritance to a stranger?" "She's not a stranger." Mr. Benson's voice broke. "She's the reason I'm alive today." But Ethan's face twisted with anger. "You don't even know her. How do you know she's not using you? Helping you for money? You think people like her do this for free?" Emma stepped back, her eyes glistening. "I never wanted anything, Mr. Benson knows that." Ethan pointed at her, his voice cold. "You're good at pretending, I'll give you that. But when lawyers get involved, truth always comes out." He turned to his men. "We'll contest this will. My grandfather's not of sound mind." The words hit like thunder. The old man gasped, clutching his chest. "Ethan, please." Emma rushed to him, helping him to breathe, while Ethan turned away, fists clenched. For the first time in years, the old cottage wasn't filled with peace, it was filled with betrayal, heartbreak, and the sound of a heart breaking quietly behind wrinkled eyes. That night, rain poured outside as Emma sat by the bedside, holding Mr. Benson's hand. His breathing was shallow, his eyes distant. "I didn't mean for this to happen," he whispered weakly. "He doesn't understand." "It's okay," she said softly. "You did nothing wrong." He looked at her, tears filling his tired eyes. "Promise me something, Emma. Promise you won't give up, no matter what happens next. There's something good waiting for you." "I know it." She nodded, unable to speak. Outside, the black SUV left, splashing through puddles. Inside, the fire flickered low, and the sound of rain filled the silence between them. Emma didn't know it yet, but the next morning would change everything, because when she arrived again, the cottage door would be open, the lawyers waiting, and the fight for Harold Benson's last wish would begin. But the world still felt heavy, as if it hadn't quite caught its breath after the storm. Emma stood by the gate of the old cottage, clutching her shawl tightly around her shoulders. The path was wet, muddy, and silent, too silent. When she pushed open the front door, her heart sank. The air inside was cold. The fireplace had gone out. The table where Mr. Benson used to sit was empty, his cup still half filled, his cane leaning against the chair. "Mr. Benson," she called softly. No answer. Then she saw it, a folded letter on the kitchen counter, her name written in shaky handwriting. Next to it, a set of house keys and the golden pocket watch he always carried. Her hands trembled as she opened the letter. "My dear Emma. If you are reading this, it means I have gone to rest. Don't cry, my child. You brought light to a home that had forgotten how to shine. You gave me kindness without expecting a thing in return, and for that, I can leave this world peacefully. There will be men who come, with papers and anger and greed. Do not fear them. I have made sure the truth will find you. Everything I owned is now in the hands of the one person who remembered I was human. Do not let anyone tell you your kindness was foolish. It was divine. With love. Harold Benson." Tears blurred the words. Her knees gave way, and she sat on the floor, clutching the letter to her chest. He was gone. But even through her grief, she remembered his last words, "Promise me you won't give up."